live stream as well. So tonight, without further ado, I might just get started with today's topic, which is the arrow of time. And yesterday, so last night, we started the topic. We finished up origin of the universe and fate of the universe, and we started to talk about the meaning of time. Now, Stephen Hawking mentioned that there's really three types of meaning of time. One is the entropy way, or the second law of thermodynamics way of looking at time. This is basically the way in which the arrow of time. Also, when I say time here, and I think I named the live stream meaning of time, really what I mean is arrow of time. In which direction is time kind of flowing, and how do we understand that? So one meaning of the arrow of time is really the thermodynamics meaning. The second law of thermodynamics says that entropy always increases. So you go from a more orderly state in the universe to a more disorderly state. So, for example, if you have a cup of tea and then you spill that cup of tea and all of the pieces of the cup is on the floor, or the tea is on the floor, the cup of tea spilled and the glass piece is broken, or the cup piece is broken, is the more disorderly state of that particular thing. And so that's really where entropy has increased, and the arrow of time is going to be in whichever direction the entropy increases or the disorderliness increases. So it's not that we see things where the cup of tea that was broken, spilled, and pieces on the floor goes back to being an orderly cup of tea. That's not really what happens. We see the other way. We experience the other way, where we had an orderly cup of tea, but then it may just fall, break, splash, spill, and make a lot of pieces of that particular cup that broke. So this is the sort of understanding of entropy and the understanding of second law of thermodynamics that comes into play when we think of arrow of time in this way. This is the thermodynamics way of understanding the arrow of time, if you're wondering. The other way for the understanding of time, or the meaning of time, is a psychological arrow of time, where we remember the past, but we don't remember the future. So in physics, there are certain symmetries. We talked about these as well, actually. These are the C, P, and T symmetries. We won't get into it a lot right now because we did cover this last night. But basically, this is to say that there was no reason for us to only remember the past and not the future. If things can happen in this direction, things can also happen in that direction. If the past is known to us, unless we have, of course, some kind of memory loss, then the future could and should also be known to us. But this is sort of the point where our psychologically we only understand and we only remember the future, or sorry, we only remember the past. We don't remember or see the future. Sometimes we say hindsight is 2020. That's all of that is to say that we understand and remember the past and not the future. Hello, Nathan. How are you? Thank you for being here. I'm glad to see you today. Glad to see you tonight. Thank you for coming. My hair is more disorderly today. I guess the entropy example applies to my hair tonight. But that's basically the first two ways of understanding the arrow of time. So entropy way and the psychological way. Thank you so much for being in the live, and thank you for liking the live. The third way is the cosmology arrow of time. So this is going to be very interesting and related, of course, to the topics that we discuss here. The cosmology arrow of time is the arrow of time, or the directionality of time, that allows our universe to expand. So we know that that the universe is expanding. Now, we've talked a lot about, the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang, how that's a singularity, how really the definition of time doesn't make sense before the Big Bang, unless we have a religious or a spiritual reason for having some conception of time. Really, time starts when the Big Bang happened and when the universe got started. But as far as the arrow of time goes, how do we know in which direction time is pointing, if you will, if there's an arrow of time? Well, in cosmology, the definition is that the universe has been expanding ever since the Big Bang. Now, the rate of expansion, what that rate is, what it should be, what we think it is, how much we measure it to be, and how much that kind of affects other things in the universe, like cosmic ingredients, which we've talked about